Welcome back to Diaries of a Sacred Sisterhood. We're so excited to have you back and for you to see what we have in store for you in the upcoming year. I'm Amanda.
I'm Tara, and we are so excited to go on this amazing journey with you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun, so stick with us.
So, just to give everyone a brief recap of what we discussed the last time, we discussed the Sacred Sisterhood and what that Sacred Sisterhood meant as far as connection and community. We also discussed the importance of grounding yourself and grounding your energy. And these are things that will help you as we go forward in this journey together. Now, for this episode, we'll be discussing things like shadow work and the importance of shadow work going in to when you're setting your goals for a new year.
So, when you're setting goals for like New Year's resolutions or whatever you decide is best for you, we all set goals, but let's keep them realistic. Don't set yourself so high with a goal that is unreachable. So maybe use goals that focus more on yourself, your self love, your self care. Um, Embracing your power through shadow work is one of the greatest ways to achieve any goal that you set. And I will be the first to tell you shadow work is not easy work. It's not all bells and whistles, but it is necessary and it is so rewarding at the end. Okay. So, some ways that you can go with your shadow work and setting your goals. Set aside time and meditate, whether it be for 30 minutes, whether it be for 5 minutes. Not everybody can meditate for long periods of time, and that's fine. As long as you're setting aside some time for yourself to meditate on what it is that you want to reach and focusing on your grounding, using your words. Your words are your power. Like any garbage that comes out of your mouth, any nastiness, any negativity, that all comes back on you. So make sure that the words coming out of your mouth are positive and affirming and loving. So that all comes back to you.
Note, and one thing to kind of go off what Tara was talking about is that your words are intention. So when you speak, whether it's to yourself, the universe, or whatever, make sure you are speaking with intention. Because what you
Absolutely.
put out into the universe, you will get back from
Yep,
the universe. It listens whether you think it does or not.
that's right. You are absolutely correct. And that's something that has taken me a lot of years to learn, but I have really learned to speak words of that are affirming and positive because if you speak negativity, you're going to get negativity back. So
And,
make sure you have intention, make sure it's positive, make sure that your words mean something.
and make sure you're not focusing on what you don't want, and you're
Right.
instead focusing on what you do want.
Yep. Yep. Don't focus on things that are going wrong. Focus on what you want to go right.
Exactly. Exactly. And I know right now that that is so hard for so many, but it's
Oh,
the reason we have to do our best to stay positive.
absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
So now we're going to talk about the things that are hard about New Year's resolutions, whatever you want to call it, and kind of reclaiming your power within that New Year's resolution because there's this thing that nobody likes called shadow work. As Tara is kind of, she gets it because we've both had our issues with shadow work over the
Yep.
years. Um, but I will tell you, I was forced into shadow work because I realized that the goals and the things that I was setting for myself each year weren't me. They weren't anything that I wanted. And it's why I never accomplished hardly ever accomplished any of those goals. It wasn't what my heart wanted. But in
Exactly.
order to find out what my heart wanted, I had to do the shadow work. And was it easy? No. But did it help? Yes. So I'm going to discuss with you guys one of the hardest times for me as far as shadow work, but also how that hard time and working through that helped me to accept things that I needed to accept and to push through and to heal that so I could make those resolutions and stick with them that I needed to. So back in 2016, I was forced to deal with childhood trauma that I hadn't dealt with in years. So that meant me sitting back and focusing on realizing certain things that I had blamed myself for years weren't my fault. They were out of my control. And that I had to forgive not anybody who traumatized me, but myself. And let me tell you, you want to talk about the hardest person to forgive in your life? It's yourself.
Absolutely.
I think so many of us go through trauma and we forget to say we're sorry to ourselves for
Yeah.
how we handled it, how we handled ourselves. And we need to learn that lesson because it is the epitome of self love.
Absolutely.
So just know that shadow work isn't always easy, but I'm telling you, it is necessary if you want to reach your goals.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. I mean, looking back, I used to make, the, oh, let's lose weight. Oh, I'm going to give this up. Oh, I'm going to do this. And none of it ever mattered. It never went through. And I never realized why until probably within the last few years when I started really doing the shadow work and learning who I was. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be part of that, but I wasn't meant to fit in. I wasn't meant to blend. None of
Right.
us are meant to blend. We're meant to stand out. And I have my own shadow work issues, and it's hard for me because as an individual who has that childhood trauma, who was molested as a child by someone she trusted. And, I trusted this person so much. And that was hard for me to work through to the point where I compartmentalized it and locked it up in a little box and put it away for
As we all do.
years, for decades.
Mhm.
And then it all came rushing back. And it's like, that's not stuff that you wholeheartedly want to go in and face,
No.
but it's necessary
Yep.
because there's so much healing in it. And I agree with you. We have to learn to forgive ourselves, whether we go in thinking that we need to be forgiven. We're the victims. We
Mhm.
are the victims, but think of how much blame we've put on ourselves for that.
Mhm.
You have to forgive yourself. It's so important. So, so important.
That's one of the things that all that shadow work did is it made me realize that my transformation into my higher self, if you want to call it, or a new, refreshed version of myself, a more true version of myself, had to start from within.
Mhm.
I could not be true to myself if I wasn't true to myself about the journey. And that meant accepting things from my past that were excessively uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
So we have to face our fears. We have to face our wounds, and we have to let ourselves heal. Otherwise, we're just going to be stuck where we're stuck. And you're never going to get to that next big thing that the universe knows it wants for you. So, one of the things that my shadow work journey allowed me to do was it allowed me to realize that I wanted to be a small business owner, that I wanted to work for myself, that I was not cut out for the 9 to 5. Girl, no way, no how, wasn't going to happen. But I was so scared to do that. And let me tell you, it has been one of the most freeing things to be able to do.
Oh, I'm sure.
The other thing that it pushed me to do is to quit hiding who I am. And that means all of who I am. And I'm a witch. I have been a practicing witch on and off for 20 years. Now, I have finally become consistent in my journey and in my practice. And going through that healing of the trauma really helped that.
Hmm. Authentic growth comes from within, not from external pressures. Small intentional changes lead to meaningful results. Changing your words, the way you think can change your results drastically. And that's something I had to learn pretty much on my own because when I really dove into it was in the heart of COVID when we were all locked down. And so, I had taken to TikTok and I'd come across, some videos and stuff. And I thought, well, wait a minute, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. So then I started to read into it and research it and everything. And it was like, okay, I see this. I need to change the way I'm thinking
Mhm.
and change the words I'm speaking. So, and it's taken me a lot, but forgiveness is going to be your best way to heal.
Yeah.
And that includes forgiving anyone who's done something against you. And the forgiveness is not for them. Understand that. Forgiveness is not for them. The forgiveness is for you. You are allowing yourself to cut that tie and release it and move on. So make sure that
Mhm.
you take that into account when you're doing all of your shadow work. You have to forgive yourself, you have to forgive others, but you're doing it for yourself.
And just one note on the forgiving the others, you
Mhm.
don't have to tell them. They never have to know
Oh, no.
you forgave them. You don't have to confront them and say, I forgive you. No, no, no.
Absolutely not.
This is you internally
Absolutely.
forgiving them.
Yes. Yes. I should have clarified that. You never have to tell them. You never have to sit down and have a conversation with them. You forgiving them is something that you do spiritually, emotionally, and internally. That is all for you.
Exactly. Now that we've kind of talked about the role that shadow work has played in our lives, we just kind of wanted to go through the process with you guys who may not have ever done any kind of shadow work and may have tried shadow work and just didn't work for them before. So we want to help you guys through this because we know it is an important part of the process. So one of the things that really kind of pushed me to shadow work, it's kind of like what Tara was saying earlier with being on TikTok in 2020 during the, you know, everybody being locked down, it I was able to find more of a process when it came
Mm-hmm.
to shadow work. I mean, I knew what shadow work was, but I didn't really know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so shadow work can start with things like journaling. It can start with simply just asking yourself questions and answering those questions in your head. And just kind of having internal conversation with yourself. And remember during those internal conversations, be gentle with yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
You're not going to just heal your wounds in 1 hour or one day. It's going to
No.
take time. I mean, I still to this day have wounds that I am constantly trying to heal because you'll find in your shadow work journey that little things may set you off and you go,
Mm-hmm.
oh, wait a minute, I didn't know that was a trigger. Okay, back up. What else do I need to do? So just again, be gentle with yourself and realize that a lot of what shadow work is doing is releasing patterns and limiting beliefs. And some of those patterns are patterns that we learn from our very well-intentioned parents. Some of that trauma can be generational trauma because
Mm-hmm.
that's all we knew. So realize that this process isn't just for you, but it's healing cycles that have been going on for generations sometimes. And honestly, that's part of what made me really push through with shadow work this last time is because I realized just how much my trauma was getting dumped on my daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. Without a doubt.
So my first steps, I've always liked writing things down. So I journaled. Now, that may not be for everybody. I know that some people don't like writing. My daughter doesn't do writing, so she draws. But try to use some prompts if you're just starting out with it. Like, what beliefs are holding me back from my growth? What am I afraid to confront within myself?
Mm.
And if you need the extra help, get a shadow work journal. They're online all
Oh,
over the place.
everywhere.
I have prompted cards that I've gotten before that really work for me.
Yep.
And if you don't want to go buy anything, Google shadow work. There
Yeah,
are tons of prompts. So
absolutely.
all you have to do is start.
Create your own book.
Exactly.
If you're drawing, create your own, use like a sketch pad and draw it all out.
Yeah,
Write it down in a regular notebook.
exactly.
So,
Do what works best for you.
absolutely. Shadow work can be so very heavy but it's so freeing in the end. So no one ever said it would be an easy journey. Let's get that straight.
No.
This is not an easy journey, but it is necessary.
Yes.
It will free your mind and your soul like nothing else can. So I encourage you to step into the shadow work itself. And like I said, or like Amanda said, you can buy shadow workbooks, you can buy cards, you can buy a burn book write it all down and then burn it, release it, set it free.
Mm-hmm.
It's stuff that you need to get out of you in order to move past it. I personally meditate. I love to meditate. And affirmations, they're my thing. That's if you know me, you know that's my thing. So, but I can also journal. I do journal, not very often, but I do. So, and I try to show myself self-compassion daily. That is so important. You deserve to be loved, and that includes loving yourself.
Yes.
So I also visualize old fears being released like smoke, like it just disappears. And if it's a big fear, I'll write it down on a piece of paper and set it on fire. Fire is my friend. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, trust me. When I want to release something, the best way for me to release it is to set it on fire and just release it into
Yep.
the universe. And that's my thing. Whatever you do, practice your shadow work. Always be sure to approach it with compassion and patience. Always.
Absolutely. And, like we've said before, shadow work,
Mm.
as you go through it, you will find is self-care. It's
Oh,
caring for
absolutely.
yourself. It's putting yourself first, which I hate to burst anybody's bubble on how they were raised, because I know I was. You come first.
Absolutely. You are a priority.
Yes. Because here's the thing that I've had to learn through shadow work and this whole journey is that I can't fill anybody else's cup
Yep.
if I haven't filled my own.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. Now we're going to talk about setting goals that align with your power. So, what we mean by that is setting goals that resonate with you deeply. Because here's one thing that I have found about goal setting in the past is if I'm just setting goals to be setting a goal, like Terry even mentioned earlier, losing weight or being, more successful or, more money, whatever it
They're
was.
empty goals.
They're empty goals and they never resonated with me.
Nope.
And guess what? If it doesn't resonate, you're not going to hit it.
Nope.
So, by doing the shadow work that we just talked about, you can set those deeper, more resonating goals. And, this is one of the reasons, like I was saying, that I really struggled in the past with setting goals, is because I realized I was setting the wrong goals. I wasn't setting the goals that I wanted for me. I was setting the goals that society wanted for me.
Yep.
So you have to find your goals that bring you joy. If it doesn't bring you joy, it doesn't need to be a goal.
Nope.
I mean, and and I know that's hard for some people, but here's the thing, is losing weight a good goal for some people? Yes, it is. It will bring them joy. It will help their lifestyle. But for others, it's not. It's just one that society tells you you should have. For me, it was realizing that, like Tara said, I wasn't meant for the humdrum
Nope.
everyday stuff. So I had to start setting goals that actually pushed me out of my comfort zone.
Hmm.
And those were scary, but they brought me joy.
That's what's important. That is, you can't do empty goals. It has to
Right.
be fulfilling. And, how many times I was told, if you just lose some weight, so I would set that goal. But do you
Mm-hmm.
know what? I was miserable while I did it. I would get up and exercise. I would eat nothing but salads, do this, do that. And I was miserable. And by February 3rd, I was done.
Yep.
So you have to set the goal to what your passion is, to what your desire is. And it doesn't have to be some mundane thing that society expects of you. It has to be from here.
I mean, really, if your goals don't align with what's in your heart, what's in your soul,
Yep.
and I think one of the things that I've heard once, it's find what sets your soul on fire.
Mm.
find that
Mm-hmm.
and everything else just
Yep.
melts away.
Yep.
Now, does it take work to find that?
Yes.
Yes. But in finding that, do we deepen our joy? Do we deepen our lives?
Yeah,
And do we become a better version of ourselves? Oh,
absolutely.
yes.
Yeah. And it's not just one thing. Get that clear. Sometimes it could be many things. So when you find that thing that sets your soul on fire, go for it, but don't close off an opportunity for something else either.
Exactly. I mean, I know for me that if I had closed the door to other opportunities, we wouldn't be sitting here doing this
We wouldn't.
podcast.
I'm 50 years old. If I'd have thought, I've done everything I'm supposed to do, we wouldn't be sitting here. So you have to open your eyes and be ready for the next great thing, because I believe that this is the next great thing.
Absolutely.
So so breaking your goals into smaller steps will help you make them more achievable. For instance, as you know, I love to meditate. When I say I love to meditate, it didn't start that way. I did love to meditate, but I would find myself doing like a 30-minute meditation session. And
Mhm.
about 3 minutes in, I would think about the laundry or what I needed to get from the grocery store or if the dog needed to go out. You get the drift. So I had to, I have ADHD, and my brain can only focus for so long on certain things. So I had to train my brain to focus during meditation. So I started with, I think it was like 5 minutes, and I did that for a couple of weeks. And then I increased it to 10 and then 15 and so on and so forth until I gradually got to 30 minutes. Now it's probably been about 5 years since I started meditating, and I can do a full hour of meditation, no problem. But it's small. You have to build yourself up to it. So the goal is to improve your mental health. 5 minutes a day can work wonders. So imagine what 30 minutes a day or 60 minutes a day could do. So just build yourself up to it. Create a morning routine and meditate, even if it's just for a few minutes.
And then one of the things that I'd like to add to that is
Yeah.
with meditating. So I meditate as well, but for me, my meditation always starts with an affirmation. I will
Oh,
wake
yeah.
up in the morning, I will say my affirmation, and then I will meditate on that affirmation.
Yep.
Because for me, that gives me a focus point
Hmm.
of what to meditate on.
And meditate on it several times a day. Like
Yes.
when you're walking through the house and you think, oh, it comes to your mind, sit and meditate on it for even 30 seconds. Just think about it. Think about what it means, what it would mean to you.
And sometimes that's all you need to refocus your brain.
No, absolutely. I remember at one point I used to put affirmations up every day and I would tape them all over my walls in
Hmm.
my house. So whatever room I would walk into, there it would be, and I would stop and I would read it. And it was a different affirmation every single day. Post-its were my friend.
Oh, post-its have always been my friends. So I feel you on that one.
Oh, goodness. Oh, you can create a vision board too. That
Yes.
would be a good one.
And
That
vision boards are something that we will be talking about.
absolutely.
Now we are going to talk about stepping into our power. And one of the first things I want to talk about when it comes to stepping into your power is trusting your instincts.
Mhm.
And let me tell you, as a person who went through childhood trauma, that was a tough one because I was manipulated and told not to trust my instincts, that my instincts were off.
Yep.
So having to relearn and reteach myself to trust my gut sucked. But it is the first thing I will trust anymore. So for me, again, that took shadow work. I know you guys are going to hate me saying that, but it did. As Tara's going, damn it, woman. But it did. It took me working through my shit to figure out I needed to trust myself.
Yeah.
So one of my mantras because of that has become I am capable of making choices that honor my truth. Because you have to be true to yourself.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
one of the other hard things as a person who came up as a people pleaser,
I
that
know where
was
you're going.
that was hard to do, was setting the boundary to say no.
Oh,
Oh,
boundaries. Oh, boundaries.
oh, let me tell you, that one sucked
It does.
because I was always told you just do it. You just push
Hmm.
through it. No. You
Yep.
know what? Say no.
Yep.
Because here's the thing. If you're not saying no, then what are you letting into your space? Are you letting that toxic relationship into your space?
Yep.
Are you letting that person that doesn't honor your boundaries into your space?
Yep.
You know,
And what happens when you have all that negativity in your space? It
it
weighs you down.
exactly, it weighs you down. So you have to acknowledge that no is important and
Yep.
that no is not something to feel guilty about.
Nope.
You have to realize that setting that boundary, and sometimes those boundaries are hard, okay? I had to let go of toxic relationships with my own family.
Yeah.
And that was hard. That was one that took me years to do. But in doing that, I was not only setting a boundary for myself, I was showing my daughter that it was safe to set those boundaries.
Yep.
And that putting myself and my happiness first with setting those boundaries was something that I needed to do.
Yeah.
And that I think sometimes we're so afraid to do because society tells us you have to have those relationships. You
Right.
have to, you know what?
Blood is thicker than water.
I will tell you, chosen family is much better.
Yep. It is. It is. I agree. My daughter's actually the one that taught me about boundaries because I have always been the people pleaser. I was the vice president on the PTO board because I wanted to please everybody at the school and I wanted to be involved. And I
Mhm.
opened a food pantry because I wanted to help others. And my daughter, as an adult, was like, when are you going to set boundaries and do things that make you happy?
Yep.
Stop trying to please everybody else. And it's an important step that will be crucial to stepping into your power. You have to set the boundaries to protect your peace. Trying to start your day maybe with an affirmation. Today, I step into my power with confidence and ease. And just kind of remember that. But you have to set those boundaries so that you have confidence and ease. Don't try to do everything for everyone and don't let those negative people, situations into your space.
Right.
I have cut off so many people in my life because I had to set those boundaries. But do you know, I'm healthier now than I've ever been
Right.
because I set those boundaries. So start each day visualizing yourself as the most empowered self.
Hmm.
And in the evening, take time to reflect on the small actions that you took throughout the day that aligned with your power. What did you do today that aligned with the power that you set for yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And was it healthy? Was it positive? Did it make you feel good?
Mm-hmm.
And those are just small steps that you can take. And it's a process. Setting boundaries is a process. You don't just and be done with it. You have to learn as you go. What boundary is safe for me and what boundary do I not cross?
Right. And the other thing that I'm going to add to that with boundaries is you're going to find when you start setting those boundaries is that you might feel some pushback.
Yep.
You might see people trying to guilt you and say, but this needs to happen. We need you. It
Yep.
has to be you.
Yep.
If it's not something that aligns with you, no, it does not.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
need to be okay with knowing your own worth and knowing that it is absolutely okay to just say
Absolutely.
no.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay. Now we're going to talk about the point and the purpose of setting your intention. Now, setting your intention means setting your intention with clarity and purpose
Mhm.
to help guide your actions, to help guide you forward through your next steps, to help. And this also helps you overcome any obstacles that you might hit along the way and push through
Absolutely.
those faster than you may have before.
Yeah.
So, for example, my intention for this year is to be fearless in my actions and beliefs in myself. Now, for me, that means not letting just life stop me, but not letting myself stop me. Because
Mhm.
I will be the first one to admit to you that I have stopped myself because of self doubt and those kind of things so many times over the years.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that I am doing to deal with that is kind of releasing those fears out into the universe
Mhm.
and pushing myself forward in my business, in with this podcast, and just in daily life, whether that be through my witchy practices or other things. Because my intention for this year is to be the best version of me that I can.
Yep. That makes complete sense. When setting your intentions, focus on the journey rather than the intention itself and the outcome of the intention, because
Exactly.
the journey is what's most important. And my intention for 2025 is igniting my spark. And you probably think, what is igniting her? What is that? Okay, so I have always loved the written word, and I
Mm-hmm.
have always loved being a part of reading and authors and everything. And I thought to myself last year, if I take my daily affirmations that I do, what if I put that into a book? And then I thought, you know what? What if I put it into a coloring book? What did I just publish?
Your
My
coloring
coloring
book.
book. So I've already started igniting my spark for 2025. And I'm so excited to see what flames I can start. It's going to be so much fun. I'm so ready for it. And this podcast is another thing that ignited my spark. This is not something that I would normally do. But it was something that I felt led to do. So here I am. I'm doing it.
So, one of the things that we want to talk about is the things you need to reflect on. So,
Mhm.
what energy do you need to bring in to the year to push that forward? You know, for me, the fearless is, like I said, it's the energy of stopping the doubt, of
Mhm.
being fearless in my belief in myself. And let me tell you, as somebody who's doubted herself her entire life, that is a hard one.
It is hard.
But you know what? I love that because it has created such a push in me to move past those,
It's a
to
challenge.
challenge myself and to take on challenges and opportunities that I wouldn't have before.
Yeah.
Whether that's within my small business, for those who don't know, I'm a web developer, so I build websites, but I've been in the tech industry on and off my entire life.
Mm.
So it's taking on things that may push me outside of my boundaries on that. It's taking on this podcast, which anybody who knows me knows I hate public speaking. So this, not naturally me.
No, me either. I was the one that threw up during debate.
uh, I wanted to. Never
Yeah.
physically did, but I wanted to.
Yeah.
But, so it's for me, one of the things that I had to start with was writing my intentions. I had to write my intentions on a sticky note, in a
Hmm.
journal, and just write those things down so I could kind of figure out not just what was in my head, but what was in
Hmm.
my heart.
Yep.
And writing those things down helped me work through. And I tell you what, I still do it on a daily. I
Hmm.
wake up and I will write things down, or I'll go to sleep and I'll write things down. One of the first things I ever did was what's called a brain dump book. And let me tell you about freeing, because I am that person who has too much stuff going on in her head.
Yeah.
Before I go to sleep at night, brain dump,
Hmm.
write it all down, get it all out of my head, get it all out.
Yeah. Otherwise, it just continually plays in a loop in your head.
And then I find myself awake at 3 a.m.
I was gonna say the next thing you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. And that loop is still going.
Exactly.
Absolutely. You can get dry erase markers. Write your affirmation on your mirrors. You can
Yes.
wipe it off and change it every day. How many times a day do you look in a mirror? There you go. You got your affirmation right there on the mirror.
If you don't have a dry erase marker, use your lipstick.
Yeah, you've got a lipstick you don't like the color of? Use that. Use an eyeliner pencil. It all washes off. So, I mean, that way it's right there for you to look at your intention, your affirmation, and what goal you want to set for yourself for the day. It's so, I mean, there's so many ways that you could go about this.
Now we want to discuss affirmations and reflections. So, for this, just like with the first episode, I'm going to lead you through an affirmation that we're going to repeat 3 times. All right. I honor my journey. I trust my intuition. I release what no longer serves me, and I welcome growth. So let's say that again. I honor my journey. I trust my intuition. I release what no longer serves me and welcome growth. And last time, I honor my journey. I trust my intuition. I release what no longer serves me and I welcome growth. Now, With that said, I always at the end say, so mote it be.
So mote it be.
But I also want to encourage you guys to journal and reflect after this affirmation, just to give yourself time to kind of feel the affirmation and release anything that you need to release.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I even have a couple of reflection prompts if you want to use those, or you can use anything on your own. Um, Feel free to use yours as you progress forward or whatever. But what limiting belief can I let go of this year? What is one limiting belief that you can let go of this year? What is one step I can take toward my goals? What is a step that you can take toward your goals? They're pretty self-explanatory. So, but feel free to progress your prompts as you go. Come
Mhm.
up with your own, make them more detailed to you. It's all about you. That's the main thing about this whole journey. This journey isn't about anyone else's journey. This is about your journey. So make
Absolutely.
it personal to you.
Absolutely. And like we said, if saying it 3 times or saying so mote it be at the end doesn't fit with you, do what feels right for you.
Absolutely.
We're just sharing what we do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like I said, this is your story, nobody else's. So make your
Exactly.
story pertain to you.
So as we end today, I'd like to just remind everyone of the importance of consistency and self-compassion, especially when it comes to your shadow work.
Mhm.
Because, like I said, shadow work is not easy. It's not meant to be easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it,
Yeah,
but not everybody does.
no.
So just remember to be compassionate with yourself, to have space for yourself, to give yourself grace.
Mm,
Because a lot of what you're going to find in shadow work may be things that you haven't dealt with in years or that you've never dealt with.
yeah,
So, in doing the process, in working through everything, be compassionate with yourself, show yourself self love, take time to ground your energy, take time for self care because you're going to need it.
absolutely. And remember to honor your unique paths and celebrate small victories. No matter how small, celebrate them. Protect your energy, stay true to who you are, and
Mhm.
trust your process. Remember, this is your story. This is nobody else's story. So trust your process. You're not going to process it the same way that I did or the same way that Amanda does. This is all for you and detailed to you. So you are worthy and you are deserving. Don't ever, ever forget that.
Exactly. And so before we end, we want to share some excitement for future episodes
Yep.
because we're going to be diving deeper into rituals sh and more shadow work. I know nobody wants to hear it, but it's a healing process,
It
people. It's a
is.
healing process. And other practices that can help you with your healing. For
Absolutely.
me, part of my shadow work process, in all honesty, are some of my rituals.
Mm,
Like Tara was saying, watching things go up in smoke. Hello, ritualistic.
yep.
But just remember, as we go through this journey together, guys, this is your journey. You
Mhm.
have to be able to make it yours. With that, what we want to do is we want to bring out a call to action for you guys to
Yep.
let us know in the comments, what are your goals?
Yep.
What are your reflections? how's your shadow work going?
Keep us up to
Let us,
date.
yeah, let us know in the comments. Keep us up to date and follow us because we're going to be doing daily affirmations to help you along this journey.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we love you guys.
We
And as
do.
always, take care of yourself.
Thanks for being here, guys. I hope to see you soon.